and welcome to Little Learners. About 2 years ago, I published a video called 10 Top Tips to Prepare Your Child for Starting School, or something like that. You seemed to really enjoy that and said it was really helpful, and a lot of you were asking if I had any kind of follow-up tips. Now, I want to stress that you shouldn't be worried about doing too much before your child starts school. However, here are 5 more things you can do to help prepare your child for starting school. Number 1. Rehearsing your new morning routine. This is especially important for children who are used to having afternoon nursery classes or just not used to getting up and having to leave the house in the morning. So when it's getting nearer the time that your child is going to be starting school, sort of maybe a couple of weeks beforehand, you might want to start helping them to sort of train themselves in waking up at the right time. So make sure you're getting them up at the time you'd be getting them up for school, making sure that they're having breakfast, and also practicing to put on their uniform. And then once you've practiced this a few times, you'll know if you're able to get it all done in the time that you need to get it done in before you need to leave the house to go to school. It can also really help your child to not feel rushed in the morning when it comes to actually having to go to school. Number 2, walking to school. It can be really helpful to do a bit of a dry run before school starts so that you and your child know what to expect. You may think that, according to Google Maps, for example, not sponsored, it takes 10 minutes to walk to your child's school. However, with little legs, it can take a lot longer, and also there will be lots of distractions along the way. And so it can be really helpful to do a couple of practice walks with your child so that they know what to expect, they can see what the environment looks like around them on the walk to school, and you know what to expect when it comes to that first day. Number 3. Label their clothes. I cannot tell you how many problems are caused by having clothing without labels in them. Now, this often starts happening kind of after the first term because many parents put their child's name in biro on the label inside the clothing. That wears off, so eventually you have all of these jumpers lying around and you have no idea whose is whose. Parents get very, very cross at the teachers because the teachers don't know whose is whose, but honestly, teachers just do not have time to keep track of who put whose jumper where. So it's really important to put your child's name in all of their clothing. You can do this by using a permanent marker, or you can also get sew-in tabs as well. And when I say put their name in everything, I mean everything. Their jumper, their vests, their t-shirts, their trousers, their skirts, their dresses, their shoes, their coats, everything. Number 4, practicing getting dressed independently. If your child is unable to dress themselves independently, they are going to need to learn before they start school because it's going to be really difficult for them otherwise. Children usually have 1 or 2 PE lessons a week. They might have other reasons that they need to get dressed into different clothing depending on what school they go to. And honestly, just taking their jumper on and off can be a challenge in itself. This is not something that teachers and teaching assistants will be doing for your child at school. They will be encouraging them to do it independently. And for some children, it can be really stressful when they get to school and realise that most of the class are able to undress and dress themselves independently, but they can't. If you are giving your child clothing with buttons or zips or any fastenings that can be a little bit tricky, then teach them how to use them. Don't just go for the Velcro and the easy option because you're worried they won't be able to do it, because at some point they're going to need to learn, so you might as well teach them now. Of course, children of reception age do need a little bit of help every now and again, which is totally expected. And of course, teachers or teaching assistants aren't just going to send children out in the rain without a coat on because they're having trouble zipping it up. But it's very important that children learn how to do all of this independently. Number 5, encourage play. Just because your child is starting reception, please don't feel that they now have to be sat at a desk learning their ABCs. They absolutely do not. Reception learning revolves heavily around play. Yes, we have some more formal learning as the year goes on, but play is a huge part of early years learning. So make sure your child is still playing. They're only 4 or 5 years old, and that's what they should be doing. So those were 5 more tips to help you prepare your child for school. If you found this video helpful, please do give it a like, as it really helps out the channel. And don't forget, if you haven't already seen it, to look at my original video, 10 top tips to help prepare your child for school. I will link that in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.